video in case something happens to me. I try to do them quite often. This type. Um, People are getting more aggressive. They're moving people. Somebody is moving them. I'm sure the front office knows. Um, I believe that the people that were trying to scam me into the fake job, they wanted to give lots of hope and then rip it away because I had to pay something to work for their company. But the person never answered how they got my WhatsApp ID. I didn't, because they claimed her and another girl, such and such in a few days is going to contact you about a position. I asked her, how'd you get my WhatsApp ID? Because she said, I saw your resume and such and such is going to call you for a job interview. You look like a candidate that would fit what we're looking for. And I said, how'd you get this contact information? She didn't answer me. And the second girl, the same thing. Well, they claimed to be a girl. She said her name was such and such, Amelia. But the profile says Zara. And when I questioned her about it, after I pushed her, to the corner and said, look, I think this is fraud. I think this is fake. She said, well, I'm a single parent of 2 daughters, or of 2 children. And I said, well, you said your name's Amelia. I said, how come it says Zara on the profile? Oh, Zara's my daughter's name. Well, why'd you pick the name of one daughter when she's supposed to have 2 children? So, and then the picture she sent me, look, I'm a real person. It's a woman with a wedding ring. She says, I'm a single mom of 2 children. And I said, well, you're a single mom. Why do you have a wedding ring on? Oh, I wear that to scare the guys away. Okay. And then I said, well, how come it's a teenager's picture here? I thought I was getting hooked up with a job that's like, the in thing and easy to do, which it was. I mean, if it was real, it would have been a great job. If it was real, I wasted it over 18 hours the past 2 days on nothing. In the end, they wanted me to pay. Pay to clear my tasks so I can earn more. And then after I get profit, I can withdraw it. This always, you can withdraw it immediately. But then earlier in the conversation, she says, oh, yep, the next payday is the 3rd. So, lots of conflicting stuff. And, but anyway, I think I know where they got the contact information. There was a girl on the bus with her boyfriend, and they were like wrapping their legs together and their arms together, and I don't know, they're very emotional and something. Looked to me like they may be high or they're coming down, but very erratic behavior. And they were both thin as rails, with erratic behavior, over emotional, just they can't sit still, and this isn't a hyperactive thing. This is a can't sit still thing. Saw lots of signs of, maybe schizophrenia or some kind of psychotic disorder, or drug abuse. Now, if somebody's wearing normal clothes and they're out and about, and they don't have extremely odd behavior, like, in some kind of delusion or really disassociative, I wouldn't lean towards schizophrenia. When they seem to be very interactive with the people around them, and very focused on each other. I wouldn't lean towards schizophrenia or any kind of psychotic disorder. No. Any kind of psychosis, I should say. But, they're not psychotic, definitely. yeah, the behavior I saw, I wouldn't lean towards schizophrenia or anything else. Like extreme, almost psychotic social anxiety disorder. Wouldn't lean towards that either. Looked to me like somebody who was or is a drug addict, suffering from some kind of addiction. But anyway, and then all of a sudden, out of the blue, somebody sends me a message in WhatsApp the day after they were on the bus. And it's this girl from the bus. So I figure that's probably where the girl with the fake job got my WhatsApp, is probably from her. Nobody knows my WhatsApp. What, less than 3 people? So, no, 4 people. About 4 people, yeah. But, yeah, 4 people or less. Some of them aren't active, so I'm not sure. But anyway, yeah. But, they keep doing this stuff to mess with us emotionally and to traumatize us. And while I was chatting and doing all these tasks to finish my training and then do my first set, towards my first day, do my first couple of sets. I would have started today. Somebody's pounding underneath the floor, directly under my feet. That means that they're in apartment 3. And this was, like I said, while I was working and chatting this girl. Sometimes at the same time, she would guide me through tasks while I was training. Set up my crypto account only to cancel it. And then somebody's talking underneath our window, which is apartment 3. Their door is directly under my utility room window. Somebody's out there laughing and talking. So I figure that she's probably connected to the people downstairs. We're always surrounded by people with bad intentions. And they come and go. And one of them works at the VA. Seen the car, the plates. One of them works at the Saginaw VA. Explains a lot. Like what happened with my first DBQ, and then the fake call from the VA to set up an appointment. It was all fake. Because they know what's coming. They probably hacked into us too. Either that or they're friends with the person that uses Wondershare to, see everything that we're doing, including messing with my email. They're going to see everything going on. They probably know the person who has the simulator that keeps hacking our phones too. Because somebody was hitting my phone trying to DNS me while I was working and chatting with this trainer for the fake job. Somebody kept hitting my phone. Kept hitting it repeatedly, trying to knock me out and off the tower. Or to cause incredible delay in doing anything. Or taking control of the keyboard. But they're getting more aggressive. And the guy from number 3 the other day punched my door at night. Don't ask me why. I cut a couple of 2x4s on my patio, but I put plastic down, and I yelled down warning, but all he did is go, ugh. He grunted. That's it. But I know I didn't get anything on him because I used plastic, and he's wearing a hoodie. So, yeah, but then he comes back later at night I heard their door open and close, and then he punches my door. See, we're always surrounded with people that have bad intentions for us. Always. God has a plan. I don't understand it. His plans for us to share in his suffering. Well, to some of the saints, they would say that's a great honor. I mean, it has its benefits, you know. When he washes over you, you know he's there. But yet, when you have a child, there's no solace in that. No solace in things happening to your family, suffering. But we're repeatedly surrounded by bad people for 8 years. And my family's distant enough so they don't want to get involved. Never have, except to question my sanity, but they gain so much. They gain my daughter if something happens to me. Because her mother's new husband is a very conservative, like non-empathetic, like, you know, serious QAnoner type that has no empathy at all. You know, it's her responsibility. It's her child from another marriage. Why is she even worried about it? That kind of attitude. You know, so what a coincidence. And he has ties back here too. What a coincidence. I'm not blaming anybody directly, but I'm just saying that by people stepping back and not being involved, they seem to gain everything. And I don't even know their address anymore. You know, I feel like people have secrets and crap over stupid stuff. But my health is getting worse. Yeah, they'll do radiology, blood tests, you know, but we're inching forward, and some of it does absolutely nothing. We know I don't have leukemia. Some of my hematology tests, blood tests, showed that some of my bone marrow, they tested the efficacy of my bone marrow. I forgot the name of the particular blood cell. I forget, but testing the levels of this blood cell actually tests the efficacy of your bone marrow, and my bone marrow appears to be pretty much fine. Pretty much. So I don't have leukemia. I mean, there's a good chance I don't. But yet still we have bilirubin problems. They haven't noticed it. I have, but they don't pay attention to detail. For the past 5-6 years, my bilirubin has always been right at the very bottom of the range. Always. Right at the bottom. If it's even in the range at all. Most of the time, though, it's right at the bottom of the range. The lowest possible number. ALT, AST is always elevated. And there's a problem with my hemoglobin and my corpuscle sizes, which all of this stuff throws off my Westergren ESR because of your blood. If your blood vessels, or not blood vessels, if your hemoglobin is packed with iron and it's smaller, it's going to weigh more, so it will sink. The Westergren ESR is erythrocyte sedimentary rate, which basically in layman's terms, how fast your hemoglobin and your red blood cells fall within, I think, saline solution. How quickly they fall, which the less they fall, it means there's more inflammation, there's less iron, there's the cells aren't as healthy or mature. And but if your blood cells have any kind of abnormality and they're smaller, that means they're packed with more iron, so they're going to settle faster. It's going to throw off the test. Of course, they don't know this because they don't research things like I do. Not that I'm so smart or that I can, hey, I'm so intelligent. I just read. I go to the experts, I go to their sites, I go to, the scientific magazines and I read. But they don't. And I pay attention to detail. That's one of my pet peeves. If I don't pay attention to some detail and I miss it, I will force myself to redo something. I don't like it. But they don't pay attention to detail. They just assume there's no inflammation. Oh, yeah, ESR's fine. But, and they're stuck on the whole, oh yeah, the liver seems to have, what is it, steatitis? Hepatitis? Yeah, they seem to be stuck on that. Or NAFLD, which, again, they haven't studied and researched to see that rheumatoid arthritis can cause the same effects as NAFLD, and it also can cause it. So they'll be looking for an etiology of NAFLD, and they'll try to be looking for fibrosis or something, but in actuality it's rheumatoid. Rheumatoid is causing the same effects, or it may have caused the same effects so long that it's actually happened and it's become non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. But its etiology, its origin, is not diet, it's not genetics, it's rheumatoid arthritis. There's time to time, the rheumatoid will present more like lupus than it will present like an arthritic condition. And it'll attack joints, it'll attack various, systems, lymph nodes. That's pretty common. I have so many swollen lymph nodes right now. I think, 1, 2, 3, at least 3 or 4 or 5 swollen lymph nodes, but of course they ignore that. They don't want to diagnose me with rheumatoid. I want to make sure they don't, because they'll have to pay. And they'll have to give me better medical care. They don't want to do that. I'll become a burn pit vet. They don't want that. It's harder to kill me. Yes, kill me. Isn't that what happens when people give you poor medical care on purpose? They don't treat you for anything. Oh yeah, we have this finding, tons of blood tests and radiology, but nobody diagnoses you with anything. And they make sure when they do tests, they make sure that coincidentally, there's a couple of things that seem to conflict, or the way that it's written, it sounds not clear. I don't like the Saginaw VA. They're killing me. In addition to the people organizing against me in the town. Why? I don't know. It seems like anybody who doesn't like me or has an issue with me or with people who look like me or people who pray like me or just white males in general, they throw everything at me. Yeah. And my My family has stepped back from this for 8 years. They don't want to get involved unless it's, involving their church as some kind of helper or savior. And somebody hacked my Facebook, so I can't contact any of my family. Very difficult. And people screw with our phones and our internet so much, it's hard to do a good search. For people or places, it's hard. Sometimes we'll bring up a website with a fake fake phone number. Like today, I was supposed to be calling Spectrum, but instead I was calling AT&T Uverse because somebody hacked the site, defaced it, and I was on the site, or it was put on a simulator and I was being simulated, which is very possible, and I called AT&T instead of Spectrum. But if anything happens to me, I've said the names before in a video, places that are responsible or refuse to do anything. Saginaw VA Blue Team, Countryway Midwest Capital Management, Morley Capital Management, Great Lakes Bay Bridgeport, Great Lakes Bay Gomez, Saginaw VA, Covenant Neurology, Covenant Neurosurgery. Let's see, CMU Health, Infectious Diseases, because of a cat litter exposure. Let's see, Covenant Sleep Medicine, or is it called Covenant Sleep Associates? I forget the name. Dr. Allen. Covenant Sleep Clinic. Let's see. Already mentioned before, Premier One. Premier Property Management, Premier Real Estate, Auburn, or no, that's not Auburn. Was it Auburn? Yeah, Auburn, Econo Lodge. These are places where things happened to us and nobody did anything. And it just ballooned. And Auburn, yeah, some of the people from a couple of apartment buildings in Buena Vista, they followed us to that hotel. And at least two of the people are people who used to live in the building I live in right now. So, yeah, if anything happens to me, these are the people who are involved. I should say these are the places. Should I say names? It doesn't matter. People use fake names all the time. All the time. More than once, we've had a nurse or a doctor that we thought was a man or a woman, and we were wrong. And I'm not, making a pot shot at transgender folks. Actually, this has nothing to do with them. These are men that are not drag queens. Drag queens don't dress in drag and then go out and hurt people. They want to get a show in. They want to get attention. They want to get applause or get paid. The vast majority of people who do that don't go out into the community, and especially don't go out into the community and make trouble. And when you see a man that's, dressed in a dress and nylons, and he hasn't shaved, all he has is red lipsticks on his lips, it's not He's not a drag queen, and he certainly is not a transgender. So, oh yeah, and some of them have stubble too. Yeah, which sound different. And then some that try to, look like they're little old ladies. A lot of that. A lot of that. But yeah, that's what we uncovered in Saginaw when we go to the city. A lot of just stuff you just very abnormal. And some of those people have worked at our medical clinics. So, one person worked in the lab and processed our blood tests. And they were one of these people who dress like a woman and do stuff to us. But these are bad people, and it doesn't matter how many blood tests they give me, nobody's moving on anything. Doesn't matter how much radiology we do, nobody's moving on anything. And the thing that's the most obvious, I have a 5-inch thick dossier with all kinds of issues that I have correlated to rheumatoid arthritis. Tons of stuff. Almost every single thing that I have can be correlated to rheumatoid. It's pretty crazy. It should be open and shut. But it's not for them. They still want to push with the liver thing. The liver's not swollen. It appears to be operating fine, except for the extremely low bilirubin and high AST and ALT. Otherwise, seems to be fine. CRP is high. Rheumatoid factor was just barely within range 2-3 weeks ago, just barely within range. And of course, they take the ESR. Oh, yeah, there's no inflammation, but they, like I said before, they don't understand what's going on with the blood cells. How it would appear that it's normal, but it's not. They're highly concentrated with highly concentrated the blood corpuscles. They're highly concentrated with high doses of iron, which for somebody like me could be potentially dangerous because I have a allele in my DNA that that my internal organs will start to malfunction. How could I put it? That I will go into heavy metal overload quicker than other people. It's just a marker that I have. If activated, and I'm exposed to heavy metals, my body will react faster than other people will. Don't ask me where it comes from, but it was identified by 23andMe. They said that I have a high likelihood of falling into iron overload if I do not monitor my not iron, I mean heavy metal overload, if I don't monitor my intake of various metals like chromium, selenium, mercury, iron. If I don't monitor these things, it could be dangerous for me. I guess you'd say I have a heavy metal sensitivity. I guess you could say that. So when your blood vessels are concentrated with iron, not blood vessels, I'm sorry, your blood corpuscles have, highly concentrated with iron, it's kind of problematic. That could explain, why I have a large spleen. But this has been going on for a while. Some of this. Nobody said anything. Off and on getting blood tests at the VA for 5 years. Nobody's ever said anything. So at least they're protected by immunity, right? And outside doctors don't even know what I have because I don't know what the coding is. What is it? ISCT? ISCT? That's the coding for every single. I do have about 10 diagnoses, and they're all random and they're not connected, and some of them aren't even very accurate, but they're all like ICST or ISCT, something like that. International Classification. No, International System Classification. I don't even know what it stands for, but it has nothing to do with the VA. This is how the VA code stuff. But anyway. If anything happens to me, there's some agencies to look into. And we can't forget the county prosecutor. I told him more than once about the things happening to my family, and he ignored it. And the chief of police for Buena Vista, not only does he know about it, he chose to retaliate against me and try to make me look like a racist one time. Let's see, and then the chief of police for the city of Saginaw, he's also known, so as the city manager, because I'm sure they talk about stuff. And he would know anyway because I went to talk to the city council. Talk to all of them at the city council about the things that have happened to my family. Nothing's been done. Never. All the stuff that's happened to us. 8 years. $46,100 now because they've ruined some other stuff. $46,100 in 8 years has been stolen from us, hacked, so lost, or I've used it to pay certain, expenses, like when we were at the Veterans Homeless Shelter that was in the hotel, and they told me to pay this cost and this cost and this cost, and I'll be reimbursed, but they lied. I was never reimbursed, and I will never be reimbursed. And that caused me to go into debt, so my loans were denied, so I had to drop out of grad school. This place has ruined our life. Ruined our life. What do I have to offer my daughters? Even in death, what do I have to offer them? Can't afford insurance. My daughters deserve more. They deserve a payout from the county of Saginaw and the city of Saginaw for what's happened to our family. My daughters deserve a payout. When a police officer spits on somebody and they get $1 million or $1 million, we deserve a heck of a lot more than that. When a police officer slaps somebody who is aggressive and they pay out, I forgot, 2 or 3 million, we deserve more than that. My children deserve justice. And I hope and I pray that God will hand them that justice. And I pray my soul not rest until my children get that justice. I pray. I pray my soul to not have peace until my children get justice. And I pray they're able to look in the eyes of some of the perpetrators who've done things to our family, to look right in their eyes. And then they can make the choice, the Holy Spirit to tell them to look at them and say, I forgive you, or to look at them and say, you're not repentant, I hope you'll be judged. Amen.